as many of you know, I've been deep inside this whole Ye situation. Been looking at it. I've been reading up on it. Um, I've been researching it. I've been listening to multiple interviews and multiple perspectives. And the reason I've been doing that because I believe that this situation right here is very big for Black people and how we think around certain topics. You know, one of the things that I am very challenged by from what I've experienced in Black culture is sometimes we get blinded by the headlines. And what I mean is we get blinded by the headlines is that we approach so many things that happen in the world with emotion and the perspective that we get from those who are speaking solely on the headline that we don't take the time to dig and research ourselves. And so if you've been following the headlines for this thing involving Ye, then you automatically know that everybody is saying Ye is anti-Semitic. Anti-Semitic, anti-Semitic has been the headline. And whether you like what Ye did or not, whether you like the way that he delivered it, whether you believe he is anti-Semitic or not, I believe that our opinion needs to be derived from fact. That we need to actually dig underneath the headline. We need to read some things. We need to dig into some things and say, what is really happening here? So I wanted to do that. And the way that I wanted to do that is I wanted to look at Ye's interviews. I wanted to read about it, but I didn't want to look at the interview from Drink Champs. I didn't want to look at the interview from Pierce Morgan or Chris Cuomo. And what I mean, I didn't want to look at it is I've seen them, but I really actually wanted to dig into an interview that Ye did with a representative from the Jewish community. And that was the Lex Friedman podcast. Lex Friedman had Ye on for a 2-hour and 26-minute podcast, and they talked very candidly, and they really got after some things. And when I looked at this interview and started to dig a little deeper, I said, wow, there's some stuff that is coming up to the surface here. That whether I believe that Ye said something that was anti-Semitic or not, I also believe that there is some stuff that has great validity here that we as Black people really need to pay attention to. You know, growing up as a Black person, what I've experienced is because that we've been oppressed so much, because we know what it's like to be hurt, because we know what it's like to be enemy number one, because we know what it's like for people to hate us and come after us, that whenever something else happens with another ethnicity, that we are automatically emotionally drawn to it. And so as soon as the Jewish community said, whether it's right or wrong, Ye is anti-Semitic, I heard a ton of Black people jumping on it without digging in to the files in the crates to say what's really going on here. So I took about 10 segments from the Lex Friedman interview. I couldn't take all of the segments that I saw that I really had questions on because it's a 2-hour and 26-minute interview. And I wanted to talk about them one by one. And here's the question that I have for this segment right here. Did they really want an apology from Ye because they were hurt? Did Lex really want an apology from Ye because he was hurt? Or did they want an apology from Ye because a nigga got out of line? A nigga put his hand in the cookie jar where it shouldn't have been. A Black man spoke on something that was above his pay grade and higher than him, and they had to slap him on the hand. Well, let's look at this clip from the Lex Friedman show, and then let's come on back and you tell me what you think, and I'll point out a couple of things that I saw.
As Lex, let's not talk about you being Jewish. As Lex, what's the apology that you want me to say to, am I allowed to say Jewish? Tell me, is it anti-Semitic for Ye to say Jewish out loud?
No, there's, I don't like the allowed. That presumes censorship. I think you choose, you have a powerful voice.
Did I prove that there was censorship over the past 2 weeks?
Who censored you? Oh, Drink Champs.
Oh my Lord.
Oh, like Twitter and so on?
Twitter.
That has less to do.
Drink Champs.
That hurt you, the Drink Champs that Nor took down your conversation?
No.
So Ye leans into this conversation with Lex, and he asked what I thought was a very good question. Lex, as an individual member of the Jewish community, actually says, just as a person, what would you want my apology to sound like if I apologize to you? This was a perfect time where I thought Lex could have said, hey, Ye, this is what I think my community needs to hear from you. This is what I would like to hear from you as an individual, to make sure you understand the value of me and my people in your life. Ye, this is where you hurt us, and this is what I think we need to hear you say in order to repair the breach of the broken bridge that is there. Ye, this is what we need you to do. And I want you to notice that not only in this segment, and you can go listen to the whole 2 hour and 26-minute podcast yourself. This was the perfect time for Lex to teach Ye what a lot of the Jewish community says Ye needs to learn. But the whole 2 hours and 26 minutes, he never gives him a way to apologize. And this what started to make me wonder in the beginning of the podcast, man, is this about what Ye really did to hurt feelings? Or is this about that black man getting out of line? But then they move on from there, and Ye asks him, so what do you want me to apologize for? Am I even allowed to say Jewish? Is that something that Ye is allowed to say? And Lex Friedman says to him, I don't like when you use the word allowed because that presumes censorship. Then Ye says back to him, but haven't I proved that I was censored? And watch this right here. Now, Lex, I don't know if you were doing this as a tactic, but there are two moves right here that made me start to dig deeper and wonder what was really going on in this conversation. Lex says to him, Ye, who censored you? And then after he said that question and Ye was taken back by it, Lex himself begins to name people who censored Ye. But watch what he does. He starts to minimize the companies because that minimizes this idea, this factual idea of censorship. Says, who censored you? Oh, Drink Champs, when they took your interview down? Oh, what are you talking about? Twitter? He begins to minimize it. And I think what needs to happen there is they need to have a factual conversation and get to the actual next level of solving the problem and saying, yeah, you know what? You were censored. And here's why I think that was right, or here's why I think that was wrong. But they don't go there. Now Lex does something else that is a tactic in communication, that whenever you're working through conflict with someone, and an individual wants to make you feel guilty, or a group of people, whoever you're having a conversation with, I'm not speaking about any individual group of people, wants to make you feel guilty without pointing out the facts where you were actually guilty, they appeal to your emotion. So instead of them continuously going on the censorship conversation, and I understand they're having a conversation in live speed and live time, so there could have been some things that are missed, attention is diverted, but I just want you to notice that we have to, if we're going to get to factual conclusions on what's right or wrong, we have to deal with facts and not just emotion. The next thing Lex asks him is, well, so were you mad that Drink Champs took your interview down? Lex, has nothing to do with what we're talking about. We're talking about facts. Was Ye censored or not? If we get to that point, then we can get to the next point. Who censored him? And then we can get to the next point. Who pushed the button for them to censor him? And then Ye's theory can either be proven or disproven. But I wanted to do a little digging in what they, on what Ye was talking about in his theory, that he has been not only censored, but he has been opposed by people who are very powerful in the Jewish community. So I looked at every company that dropped Ye recently. Here are all the companies that dropped him. A creative arts agency, CAA, dropped him. His law firm, Robert Stephen Cohen, Cohen, Clare, Lons, Grave, Thorpe, and Rottenstrike, the law firm representing him in his divorce, dropped him. Balenciaga dropped him. Gap was already on the fence, but they dropped him. Adidas dropped him. JP Morgan stopped banking with him. And MRC Entertainment dropped him. Every leader, CEO, or president of the board of every one of those companies is either Jewish or very closely tied to the Jewish community. There's only one that is not Jewish, and that's Adidas. And we're going to talk about Adidas. But let's look at this. CAA was started by exec Michael Ovitz, who is Jewish. It's currently owned by TPG Capital, which is owned by David Bonderman and Jim Coulter. David Bonderman is the founding partner. He's Jewish. Cohen, Clare, Lons, Greif, Thorpe, and Rottenstreit is the law firm that dropped him. Robert Stephen Cohen is the managing partner of that law firm, Jewish. Cedric Charby, the CEO of Balenciaga, Jewish. Robert Joseph Fisher, the chairman of the board of Gap, Jewish. Adidas, not Jewish, but many people don't know. You can read about it in the book Sneaker Wars. In 1933, the founders of Adidas, the brothers, who were the founders, they broke up and then one went to go found Puma. In 1933, they became card-carrying members of the Nazi Party. They signed all their letters, Hail Hitler. Yay, we can't be on this bus with you because our past going to start coming up, bro. You got to ride this out by your own. James Diamond, not Jewish, but he is married to a Jewish woman. His wife is Jewish. They have children. His children are Jewish because the rule in Judaism goes that if children are, when children are born by their mother, if their mother is Jewish, they're automatically Jewish. Our MRC Entertainment, Modi Witzik and Asaf Sakshu, two partners who own MRC Entertainment that pulled out of the documentary that Ye was shooting, one of them Jewish. When you start to dig through that, it's just one simple question. Do we believe that there's any validity to what Ye is saying? Whether we believe he was anti-Semitic or not and how he handled going after this problem, do we believe from the facts of this situation that there could be a problem? And listen, this community has the right to do whatever they need to do outside of breaking the law to teach people how to treat them. And all Ye is saying is, for my black community, I want us to get this because I can't walk through Target without seeing 50 articles of Balenciaga. But the question is, in the black community, do we have the power? Do we own enough to be able to cut people off and affect their living if they say something that's anti-black? No, we don't, because we hear anti-black stuff every day. And the reason why people keep on saying it is because there's not the power to take it away and make people respect us and treat us the way that we should be treated. So for this first segment, do you think, from what you heard from Lex Friedman, just Lex right here, was the apology about Ye really hurting the community? Or was the apology about a nigga getting out of line? Put your thoughts in the comments.